Hi guys, Brain here, and welcome to another commentary video. Originally, there was going to be a much different video here, talking about the skill-based matchmaking and like the, supposed changes that had happened to it, and people kind of like theory crafting about what happened. But if you did not know, Behavior, specifically Mandy, the community manager, actually did come out and confirm that MMR was messed with. MMR did get changed. So we're going to be talking about like where people started figuring out that something was off, my experiences with it, and what actually changed and how this affects you playing the game. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. First off, before we get started, I wanted to say sorry that there wasn't any commentary videos last week. I came down with a pretty bad flu, and I was bedridden for 3 whole days, and it was across the weekend, and the weekend is usually when I record. So that's why you didn't see any commentary videos last week. They didn't go away. I'm not planning to stop doing them or anything. I was just sick. So yeah, back to it. All right, so around last month, say in the middle of October, a lot of people were theorizing that the MMR had been changed because a lot of big content creators were saying that they had been experiencing a lot more in the way of more difficult matches. Now, I had not been experiencing personally anything dramatically different. I would have easy games and I would also have hard games. So like my matches by and large kind of played out mostly the same, so I didn't put too much investment into it. However, when November rolled around, a lot of content creators had pretty firmly decided, and apparently rightfully so, that MMR had definitely been tampered with. They had noticed their matches had been getting tremendously more difficult, and thought that, hey, did they mess with the MMR? Did they do something? And of course, there was a lot of like, there's a big like Twitter back and forth. And like, did they actually mess with it? Did they not mess with it? People were kind of like going at each other. And like, in the fairness of the people that like, didn't necessarily believe that it was happening, Behavior doesn't really typically let us in on the inner machinations of skill-based matchmaking. It's all like, smoke and mirrors for the most part. Like literally we had to data mine. We had to get somebody to data mine how the MMR works. This Behavior to this day still hasn't technically told us how the MMR actually works. So we had to rely on data miners to tell us the whole like, soft cap killer MMR thing that like Behavior had not informed us about. So that especially goes doubly for any sort of like changes or adjustments they've ever made to it. Before this point, they've just kept it hush hush. So it was probably better, better practice, kind of like assume that nothing had happened rather than anything else instead of like speculating, because there was no way to really prove it. However, like I said, Mandy did come out today and say officially that the soft cap had been raised. So what does that specifically mean, and how does that affect your games? What they ended up doing to this, what the actual change was, is that they actually ended up increasing the soft cap. And you may ask, what is a soft cap? A soft cap is something that applies to the top end of matchmaking, and there's a certain point, a certain number that you reach, a number ranking that you reach, that after that point you start getting diminishing returns, and at some point it kind of essentially doesn't matter anymore. You're at such a high bracket of people going against each other that the MMR kind of doesn't matter as much anymore, because like you can only go so high. It's not like if you're on a win streak and you get like 1,000 wins, you're only going to go against other people win streaking with 1,000 wins. The soft cap is soft by nature, meaning you can still face a lot of the people that are like average or slightly above average players. So what increasing that soft cap does means that while it won't keep somebody on 1,000 or 500 win streak only facing somebody with 1,500 win streak, it means that it is way more strict. It keeps more of the top players that have pushed past the soft cap mostly playing against people that have pushed past the soft cap. It's making it way more strict, and making it to where those top players will be more restricted to facing each other, instead of having it more commonly have them dip down and kind of dip more into that average player base. So the TLDR, if that was like kind of like hard to understand, basically the takeaway, the thing you need to understand is that top players will be more often going against top players and will not be as often being matched up with average or slightly above average players. They're essentially being forced more to play with each other. So if you're at that soft cap, if you're somebody who plays the game pretty hard, plays to win, you're probably going to notice a very stark increase in difficulty of your matches. You're going to start seeing your matches get more sweaty and more intense, and you're going to be facing people that are more on your skill level. However, if you are somebody who plays the game averagely, like at an average skill level, or only plays pretty casually, you're going to find that a lot of those sweaty gamers that you used to face that you're like, dude, I just wanted to hop on and relax, a lot of those people will be gone. You will not be seeing those people as much because they will be facing other sweats for the most part. So yeah, what does that mean for the game? Like I said, it's kind of a dual-edged sword, right? A double-ended sword here, because for us that just kind of like you know, somebody like me who has pushed past the soft cap, my matches in particular are going to be a lot more sweaty, and I don't always necessarily enjoy a sweaty match, especially getting it more often. So I'll be interested to see how this affects things moving forward for me in my games. However, for those of you that play the game more casually and are only like average to slightly above average, which is, you know, probably primarily most of the player base, to be frank, you guys are going to be having better matches. You people that aren't super devoted to DBD, people that are kind of good but not too great, people that play the game more casually, you guys are going to be more matched with people of your own skill level, which means your matches are going to be better. And I would think that, like, in terms of, like, you know, game health, it's probably better that we focus on a majority of the player base in terms of if we're going to have to deal with matchmaking, if we're going to be saddled with skill-based matchmaking, it's probably better that the people that play more casually and are the majority of the player base get the better deal when it comes to matchmaking. That there is something to be said, though, that like content creators, you know, that play this game and grind this game are going to be having a worse time, and they are the face of the game, and they are the ones that are, you know, a lot of people will be like, I want to try Dead by Daylight, or I'm kind of interested in Dead by Daylight, and they log into the streams, and if those people are just having miserable games because all their games are really, really intense, there's something to be said for that, and that's something we're probably gonna have to monitor, keep an eye on, and hopefully that does not turn into a very, very big miserable sweat fest or anything like that. Yeah, there's kind of like, you know, positives and negatives to this. I think for the most part, it's a positive change, but we will see how it affects people that grind this game a lot and content creators and how it affects them conversely. So yeah, that is the change that happened to the MMR. Hopefully it made sense. Hopefully I explained it to you in a way that like helps. Do you guys think that it is going to be a good change? Do you think that this change that has been made is going to be good for the health of the game, or do you think it's bad? Let me know down in the comments below. But it's going to be it for today's video, friends. Thank you so much for watching. But if I do not see you tomorrow, because I upload daily, I will see you when I see you. Bye-bye.